Hey Summoners, how's it going? My name is Nathaning and I'll be your host for our weekly news update. If you're out of the loop or need a reminder of what's going on with League of Legends, look no further because I'll give you guys the most recent information available. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content like this, and let's get started. So the biggest piece of news that we have coming up is Riot's newest champion. Renata, the Chem Baroness, is on her way to Summoner's Rift very soon. Speaking of which, if you want help learning a new champion, including Renata when she releases, make sure you check out our website, ProGuides.com. We have plenty of excellent coaches who would love to help you out, and I'm certain that they can speed up the process for a lot of you. In case you missed it, we have a video talking about Renata's abilities in depth. For this one, I'll point out her most defining characteristics. We thought the madness of built-in revives was over with Akshan, but we now have a new one coming up with Renata. Renata's W buffs up a target ally, granting them bonus attack speed and movement speed when chasing down enemies, resetting on takedowns. However, if an ally dies during the buff duration, they're instead revived with full health and burns out over 3 seconds. If you're able to pick up a takedown within those 3 seconds, they get a second chance at life. This in itself is pretty insane. I admit it's creative and I'm sure it's fun to play with, but with any awesome champion design, playing against it is going to lead to a ton of frustration and stress. The other big deal with Renata is her ultimate. We have stealing ultimates from an enemy, stealing defensive stats, and even becoming an enemy champion already in the game. So what's Riot's next step? Having the enemy team go berserk and fighting each other. After landing the ultimate on enemies, they gain bonus attack speed and prioritize attacking each other while under the influence. On this topic, let me ask you the question of the day. Do you like Riot's recent champion designs? Why or why not? I'm not gonna lie, I think they're awesome and innovative. However, the bottom line is that they're very problematic. These incredible kits are overloaded compared to the older champions. You have champion designs that essentially are 10 years apart in the same game, but hopefully with more VGU updates, things are gonna get closer to being balanced. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and let's continue on with the video. As Riot continues to introduce these champions with new mechanics that push the boundaries of the game balance, it really does bring up a ton of questions. Is this healthy for the game? Is the frustration that players will have to face worth the constantly growing power creep? It's definitely all subjective and for the most part, out of our control. That's enough about Renata, so let's move on to the other topics, namely skins. We've got some cool new skins coming up. Shockblade Kassadin, Shen, and Qiyana are currently on the PBE. These skins will cost 1350 RP and will give the 3 champions a lightning ninja aesthetic. Honestly, this Shen skin kinda reminds me of a certain character from an iconic show about turtles that love pizza. Giving these champions new themes to work with changes up a lot, and I wouldn't sleep on these upcoming skins. As these are epic tier, they're going to be including new models, new visual effects, and new sounds at the minimum. Now if we're talking about skins, we of course have to talk about the one that we know for certain that many players are excited about. That includes myself, of course. If you've watched Arcane, you're sure to recognize Echo wearing his iconic Firelight attire. After a round of feedback, it was taken off the PBE, but is once again back and better than ever. Features new models, textures, visual effects, sound effects, new recall animation, and even a new home guard. If you want a sneak peek of it and also have an opportunity to provide your own feedback, make sure you head over to the PBE, test it out, and even comment on the League PBE subreddit's mega thread for it. As hyped as I am about this skin, there is other massive content coming up. While we have exciting new champions and new balance changes, we can't forget about League's older champions. Riot is making sure of it as the next confirmed update will be none other than Skarner. Unfortunately, after several attempts at many reworks or big balance changes, Skarner has never really been able to break into the mainstream. A mixture of his outdated visuals, underwhelming and boring gameplay, and a kit that seems rather dated contribute to this. Riot took a vote over which champion should receive a next visual game update, and Skarner took a win by a significant margin. A little more than 33% of players voted for him, and in second place went to Shyvana, who took 90% of the vote. In the words of Riot Reeve, lead producer of Champions, he sees a ton of potential in Skarner's rework. While there have been many reworks that led to a temporary small increase in his play rate, nothing has really stuck. Moving forward, they're basically rebooting everything, similarly to how they did to Sion and Urgot. It's noted that in some form, Skarner's gonna be keeping his iconic kidnapping ultimate. So yes, there's no escaping this grasp unless you have QSS ready. On top of all of this, Riot also plans to update Skarner's lore. At the moment, there isn't much that is known about Skarner's species, the Brackern. Aside from the fact that, Seraphine uses his race's powers to power up her platform, and his race is extinct. It's ridiculous. Anyway, to avoid major spoilers, I'll just say that some parts of the current lore might not perfectly match up with what's going on the recent series Arcane. That said, a lot of champions have been receiving updates to their lore, and there's a chance that Skarner wasn't updated in anticipation of this upcoming rework. As the updates for Skarner's update slowly unveil, we'll make sure to keep you guys all in the loop and even create educational content to help you guys get ready to play him. And before moving on to the updates, I also want to bring to attention Shyvana. She comes close to winning these VGU polls and can never really take first place. However, Riot has explicitly mentioned that she is on the radar for one. Champions don't have to win these votes to get an update. There's definitely a possibility that she might even be one right after Skarner, but we'll have to wait and see as nothing's confirmed just yet. That's just another exciting rework that I'd love to see, as her shapeshifting is honestly lackluster compared to the others in the game. On top of that, I hope that they give her a real passive to work with. The current one is just cannibalism or something, right? I don't even know. I don't understand it. Anyway, moving forward, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the competitive scene and the esports related topics. While I'm not gonna recount every highlight from the pro scene, I'll make a quick mention of Cloud9 pulling out that mid lane SORAKA and even Ivern in their recent games. There's been a recent surge of support items being built in solo lanes. This is not one of those cases. However, it does bring up the topic of supports in the mid and top lane. With some extra income, these aren't your everyday hold your hand supports, though I could use some hand holding with Valentine's Day coming up. They have more of a death grip because they hit harder and provide even more utility after spending some time in the solo lane. Cloud9 just showed us how powerful putting a utility champion in the mid lane could be with both of these picks, ending the weekend 2-0. Does this imply that we have to see some big nerfs to utility? Is Riot really okay seeing these unorthodox support solo laners, or is the only problem they had with support items being built? There are some heavy implications here, and depending on how far these sort of picks can go, we might see some balance changes reflecting the balance team's thoughts very soon. Both of these picks made it clearly impossible for the enemy teams to find any picks that they wanted. Utility is OP apparently. Both Ivern and SORAKA were able to consistently keep their carries alive, making teamfights an absolute nightmare. With that being said, let's move to our final topic, the Champions Queue. So in case you don't know what the Champions Queue is, it's basically a new Western super server that Riot decided to implement recently. In response to pro players' discontent with the state of solo queue, these servers exclusively allow players at the top level to grind it out, matchmaking with one another for some serious games. This is essentially Riot's answer to the state of North America's solo queue. The Champions Queue also features a seasonal format as well as a prize pool within the competition. Thus, players are encouraged to do their best for a chance at those winnings. It's conducted through an invite-only Discord server and provides automatic lobby creation, player invites, communication channels, and match results reporting on a tournament realm that runs on the same patch as a live server. A web portal even features the Champion Queue leaderboard, match history, player stats, and a Hall of Fame for its winners. At the moment, access is restricted to LCS, Academy, LLA, the top 16 NA amateur teams from both of the Spring Proving Grounds qualifiers, and a few LCS alumni. There are also applications open to top players to assess future opportunities to expand the server. In order to be admitted, players must first pass a behavior check, and they'll also be strictly monitored afterwards. Overall, this feels like a big step of progress for the competitive scene. Of course, the Champion Queues have been met with feedback, both good and bad. Many pro players are loving it for what it is. It provides them with an opportunity to play higher quality match-made games. Playing against players of similar skills also allow them to practice at a much higher caliber than before outside of scrims. The majority of negative feedback comes from high-level players who aren't able to participate in the Champions Queue. It's a reasonable argument. There are lower-ranked players who were admitted through their membership on a team. As a result, there are cases where a Diamond player can end up in a lobby full of Challenger, Academy, or even LCS players. From the perspective of a player that's worked hard, maybe even harder than some who are admitted into the Champion Queue, it can feel unfair or even confusing that some who are worse than them are allowed to play. Considering this is the biggest case against the Champions Queue, it sounds like the concept itself is well done. However, there are still some issues with the selection process that need some fine-tuning. Over time, however, it sounds like Riot plans to gradually allow more players to join. It's a waiting game at this point, and we'll have to see how things pan out with the Champions Queue. That concludes our weekly news update. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you're not already a part of it, make sure you join our Discord server. You can find the link in the description box below. And if you join, you can be the first to find out about any future events, news, or giveaways for prizes like free coaching. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.